And so, beloved masters, welcome to this day. It certainly is a fine day in the times that are happening. It is a chaotic day, and yet, even in the midst of chaos, there's joy. And so, feeling the happiness is what we're going to talk about on this day. Finding happiness within your inner self. And there's a lot of discussion going on the planet about where is the inner self? How do I get there? Can I just think about it and be there? What do I do to find that happiness that I'm told exists inside of me, and yet I feel restless. I feel unsettled. I feel uncertain. I feel worried. I feel fearful. And all of these aspects that I just named are connected to the negative ego mind. Over eons of time, the programming has been just very subtly shifted toward moving you away from that intimate connection within yourself and bringing you more and more to focusing on what's out there, what you can see, what you can smell, what you can touch, what you hear, or at least what you think you heard. And it is that, dearly beloved masters, every breath that you take is filled with divine essence. And yes, there are many places where the air quality has certainly diminished due to factories and fires and just general lowering of the vibrational frequency of Earth in the physical plane. And yet, you, dearly beloved masters of creation, are capable in energetic places that do not connect directly to the outer world. These energetic places that fill you up within. But for many of you, it's been so long since you've been there that you doubt if it really is true that there's anything of worth and value inside of me. I feel so sad. I feel so alone. I feel so disconnected. And a lot of those experiences are a direct effect of the fact that the planet herself is changing immensely. What you've known before, how you have recognized life, even for many, whether it's a good day or not, has been by what you see happening for you. What you see, what you hear, even what someone tells you, can lift your spirits or it can make you depressed. But if you're accustomed to experiencing depression, it's almost like a program that switches on when you're awake. You wake up, and if depression is your normal perspective, then perhaps the first thing you experience is depression. And so, beloved masters, behind that illusion, behind that veil of lifetimes of deceptive teachings, you can find happiness in your positive thinking. Positive thinking. And a lot of people's egos love to play games because the ego is a bit of a trickster. So it says, well, I'm positive. I'm positive that life isn't working well. I'm positive that things aren't going well. But deeper, below that level of belief, of ingrained perspective of the outer world, deeper, it begins to lighten up. It begins to get a little clearer. You begin to feel a beauty deep inside of you that is so pleasant. It may actually feel like a body response, that you tingle, or that waves of energy just flow over you. Not necessarily the chill up the spine, though it might feel that way, but certainly the higher frequency of vibrational essence that is being beamed on the earth from the cosmos is washing over your skin. It is integrating into your cells. In a way, it operates a bit like sunshine. That when you're out in the sun, those rays not only touch the outer levels of your skin, but they imbue you with a lot of good energy, which is one reason that people feel happier in the sunlight. And yet there are people who absolutely love a rainy day. And instead of making them depressed, they just relax and enjoy it. So, however, over lifetimes, your programming has gotten into place, In these times, it is to begin to release the old ideas. Because, and every time I speak to you, I say this, even as we speak, how life has been on this planet is breaking down and moving away. And what is being revealed is a construction zone. A construction zone very often is walled off. A construction zone has all kinds of chaos and disorder. And yet, as old buildings are being torn down, the vision that those who are creating something new, the vision in their mind and their heart of a newer and more, perhaps, better offering is keeping them enthusiastically moving forward. Your life at this point in time on planet Earth is a construction zone, because who you have known yourself to be is being pulled away. The facades are being removed. And what you can discover is who you really are. The issue is that even religions have encouraged you not to want to know what's going on inside of you, because there is a suggestion that anything negative that happens in the outer world comes from the inner world. And the truth of the divine is the very best things that happened on this planet emerge from the inner world. Your inner connection that has far more space, far more beauty, far more opportunity, far more creative ability, because as you move into the energy of your own inner space, you begin to find light, color, beauty, newness, things about yourself that you didn't remember, that perhaps you haven't known in so long you forgot they existed. But it is, beloved masters, as you are allowing yourself, you don't enter into the inner space by force. You don't come to center by a demanding mind. So when someone says to I, how do I get to center? I always say, first you let go of trying to get to your center. let go of the doing, of the thinking yourself there, and let the energy of thought, like a breath, just float to connect in the sacred center within. And we keep going over this thing because a lot of times, if you hear something and hear it, you begin to actually look within. You begin to spend a little more time with yourself. The process of becoming integrated with yourself once more will take some time. It's taken many thousands of years for you to leave yourself. But everything's moving so much faster now. But you cannot rush returning to yourself. As you make your intentions to connect with yourself, and as you feel, you might say, the sacred determination to stay the course, to find your inner space. And then you turn that desire over to God, Goddess. Show me the way. Now, again, logic wants to have a written agenda. This is what you do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. But what everyone on the planet is beginning to discover very subtly, even if they don't recognize it yet, is the less you try, the more you succeed. The less that you are forcing things to happen, the more beautifully things occur. And the mind may say, well, how will I know that? Because that essence of understanding that has existed inside of you for all the lifetimes that you've lived, which are so numerous that the idea of even attempting to count them is beyond imagining. So you have in your cellular memory eons of time, lifetimes of memories, both positive and negative. And as you ask for assistance, in many ways, what the essence of the divine activates is that you touch into the aspects of your own memory banks that will assist you, a unique individual, that will assist you to discover what is necessary and important for you to remember about yourself today. So many memories are coming up. People talk about the memories and the dreams Yes. And a lot of them aren't very good. How can that lead me to the happiness within? Because, dearly beloved masters, everything that comes up and leaves is done. So as you bring it up and you let it go, it may take a little bit of time to forgive it. It may take quite a bit of time to come to a centered understanding that is far beyond what the logical mind thought about what that situation was about in the beginning. A vast majority of humanity turns to their childhood as the reason for the way their life has gone. And yes, beloved masters, those were the beginning times of this journey. And yet, any moment that you are willing to face forward and forgive looking back, to face forward and meet those fears, those judgments, those miseries that honestly, to this day, yes, are holding you back, but not because of what they did to me, but about the slow movement that has taken place over unlimited time that has moved you from a clear, confident, and amazingly capable creator, a co-creator with the divine that didn't have any fear of feeling that loving energy and essence of God, Goddess, as a part of every creation. Planting a field, hunting for food, having ideas for new ways, going from a cave to a hut, to a house, to a mansion. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it were not true, I could not tell you. So, through lifetimes, you've had cave experiences, and it wasn't just in the beginning because life goes forward and you just constantly evolve into better things. You might say at one level you are, but the logical world tends to circle, and it will go back at least for, I would say, the last 100,000 years to a certain point of war, a certain point of conflict that aided the diminishment of humanity. And let's emphasize that and live it again. So, beloved masters, today, in all of the chaos that is going on in the outer world, and this really isn't about a blame game. The ones that are creating, most obviously, the changes that people don't necessarily like are really assigned along their soul path with assisting in the changes. Now, every soul on this ball is a part of these changes. Will you remember, tap into the depth of your positive creativity? If one thing doesn't work, find another way, a better way, a more comfortable way, a more powerful way to achieve it. You have been told, as technology is taking over the planet, this will make it easier. This will make it better. And certainly in the beginning, as the computer age began to evolve, it certainly felt that way. When you went from a phone on the wall with a party line to a phone as thin as a credit card that you can carry in your pocket. Miraculous. And it's happened in the last 150 years. The technical evolution. It was already starting about the time of the Civil War. And people of all races were beginning to look for ways. They hadn't found it, but they were beginning to look for ways to move themselves forward as an individual and as a race. And over time, if you could look back far enough, you would find that each race has had a time when they were in charge. Today, the return to the beginning of the technical evolution keeps attempting to remind you how much good this technology is doing for you. As you begin to wake up and say, logic isn't very logical. Logic really doesn't make sense. Example, you want to get into your credit card account and you have to have a password and you have to have a username. And so you have the password and the username that you have used for a long time. And on this day, you put it in to go into your account. And it comes up a message. We don't recognize this username or password. Try again. So, logically, you may think, oh, I must have made a mistake. So I'll go back and I will erase everything and I'll re-enter what I have always used. And again, it comes up and says, we don't recognize this. And now you have really double checked, so you're on top of it. This is what I've used. But they want you to change your username and password. So you may change your username and password. All right, this will make it easier. even though I could remember the other username and password, but I'll change my username and password. And so you do. And that day you get into your account. And a few days later, you go into your account and you enter the new username and password. And the message pops up. We don't recognize this username and password. You need to change your password. And logically, you say, I just changed my password. And I shouldn't have to change my password again. So in the more recent times, they began to, all these companies that want your username and password, they've decided that if you have a key, a pass key, and it can be a simple code of 4 numbers that you use to get into your account. But you have to be able to get into your account to open a passkey. The account that you aren't able to get into because the company doesn't recognize your username or password. So you call the company and you talk to them, and they say, all right, everything is fine. Now you can use your account. So you go to your account and you put in what you believe is the current username and password, and the message comes up. We don't recognize this username or password. You need to create a key. Or another good delaying factor, we've got to send you a code. But we can't send you a code if you don't have a cell phone. So it is becoming subtly. This is how things happened for eons of time. And why humanity tends to go to avoidance. Ah, I'll just forget about it. I'll find some other way to do it. Now that is where you begin to access your creativity. I'll find another way to accomplish this. But in order for it to go to your center, into your happy place, you have to be delighted at the idea, and I say have to, you don't have to because you've got free will. You can make a choice. But the choice is that you make to be excited, to be enthusiastic, to be optimistic, to be feeling this sense of power that you have played the game better than they do. And it does feel really good within you. And since what's going on out there, beloved masters, is an illusion, as you can play the game better than they do, you begin to feel it resonate in your soul center, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of capability that you had been programmed for so many lifetimes that you just don't have that, especially as the technological age has expanded. And there are people that do not want to engage in technology. And so a lot of people have simply stepped back and dealt with the inconveniences of not being able to keep up. But you're brilliant. You're amazing. There have been lifetimes when you have known technology that far exceeds what the Earth is offering today. You have lived on other planets. You have lived in so many different places and ways and times over the eternity of your soul. And now the programming of this place and this time for many people is, this is it. You're born, you live, you die. That's it. There's nothing more beyond it. And yet, and I would have to use the logical word, proof that there is so much more is really beginning to be felt in your life. Now, logic still may dismiss it as coincidental, as many small things are dismissed as, oh, it was just a coincidence. But the fact that in many ways things are moving faster now, the coincidences keep occurring, almost as though it happens and you feel it and dismiss it. And something else that doesn't seem to be related happens, but you get that same feeling in your solar plexus, a joy feeling, or an amazement feeling, or a feeling of delight, or maybe even as you become more connected, the magnificent experience of recognizing this one really brings you joy. I am indeed beloved by God, Goddess, all that is. I feel it. It may be just a glimpse, but it keeps happening in different ways. But the feelings, and these are not emotions, these are not reactive situations. These are delightful, but calm and quiet. And there's a sense of settledness as you integrate into unity with yourself, with the divine, with the wholeness of this planet. Earth is birthing. And yes, when birth occurs, there's chaos. And as birth occurs, the child that was in the womb is now confronted with a world that consciously they don't remember. Now, many of you in these times are beginning to have a lot of past life memories. Some of them are pleasant, some of them are challenging, but you are having past life memories. It isn't about what do I do to stop the past life memories. In fact, beloved masters, you will find a huge new relief, a freedom when you stop trying to figure out what to do. Trying is a no thing, but it takes energy, even though nothing really happens because it doesn't really go anywhere. I tried, which says it didn't work. Nothing happened. But if you keep trying, over time you build walls and defenses. So now, beloved masters, the opportunity for new interpersonal technology is letting go of doing. How in the world do I do that? How can I let go of doing? I've been doing for lifetimes. I don't know how to do anything without doing. Allow. Sit with the word allow and just feel it. Don't try to make anything out of it. If you are led gently to consider aspects of it, then integrate those because Spirit will work with you in understanding this new earth. If you are willing to forgive the pride of I have to do this all by myself. The pride, the fear, the loneliness, the separation. And what these times are doing, dearly beloved masters, is ending separation. Many people are feeling more drawn to groups of like-minded people. They're feeling more of a desire to share what they're experiencing, what they're discovering with others. And your stories, your own personal stories of positive thinking. We're not talking about the old rehearsal of the woes, going over and over and over all the bad things, because masters, the more you focus on any one thing, the more powerful it becomes in your life. No wonder humanity is depressed, because there are so many people that are encouraged in group therapy or personal therapy. Tell me what's wrong, and I'll tell you what to do about it. Do you hear some buzzwords there? And this is not a criticism, because as these times are changing, it's simply that the things that were amazing in their time began to lose their luster, not just because people are always looking for something new and entertaining, but because even if you don't think you're connected to your inner self, you feel certain things are no longer a part of your life, and you just gravitate in a new direction. When you are desirous consistently to create a better life, a more positive life, a more prosperous life. Then, dearly beloved masters, your loving determination becomes focusing on the things that uplift me, the love I have in my life. Because in the separation, humanity has gotten so out of touch with love. A lot of people are afraid to really commit to letting someone in to love you. Because the logical mind is afraid of being controlled. So letting go of control in your life doesn't mean that you're going to go crazy or that your life is going to spin around because you're letting go of control. Connecting within returns you to the captain's place in your life. Your life is a ship, and you are the captain. And safe harbor is within. So the journey isn't out and away. You've wandered a long, long, long time. The journey in these times is to bring your ship home to the safe harbor within you. And believe it or not, it's not confining, because as you come to your safe harbor, your connection with the divine within, you will discover a little bit at a time, as you are willing to explore. And yes, it does require that you find the courage that God gave your soul in the beginning. The courage to explore. The courage to explore yourself. The courage to get to know you in love. To feel in your sacred space, in love with you. Not the defensive, well, I love myself even if they don't, but the self-supportive, confidence building. I feel the love for myself. I feel the goddess's love for me. For in the midst of all the chaos, goddess is emerging. The mother's love, the mother's touch, the divine feminine. And even men are beginning to experience that sense of gentleness and tenderness and compassion. And it feels so beautiful. Long ago, the terminology of ladies and gentlemen was an introduction in proper society. But before that, a gentle woman knows her finest self. She enjoys the delight of graciousness. She has gratitude, not humiliation. She has grace, which isn't just how you walk across a room. It's how you move through your life. And you hear the song more and more in these times, Amazing Grace. But it has been corrupted to talk about the sins of people. And the truth is, the amazing grace is that as you come home to yourself, you are divinely welcome. That divine essence that created you never turned against you. But in this illusion that has brought you to be so outward focused, so separate from yourself, in that, dearly beloved masters, you have forgotten how glorious it feels within. That amazing grace. The gracefulness of moving in your life with such a strong awareness of your inner power, not power over or dominance, but your power to create beauty, harmony, connections, closeness, loving intentions, sharing. Sharing is not just giving or receiving. Sharing is the grace of being a cheerful giver, oh yes, but also the grace of being a gracious receiver. Someone gives you a gift, thank you. Not, oh no, you can't, I can't. I don't accept gifts from anyone. And it is, beloved masters, you were created to share, to give graciously and receive graciously. Amazing grace with no war, no battle, no fear-filled mind going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I want to do the right thing, but I don't know what the right thing is. Tell me what the right thing is to do. So you go and ask 100 people, what would you do if you were I? Or what would you do in this situation? And after you've interviewed 100 people, you find that 50% of them said this and 50% of them said that, with all kinds of variations on the theme. But it still comes back in the final end to your choice. So as you make the choice in every step you take to be positive, to look deeper to dive beyond the surface that says, this is really hard, this is difficult, this is terrible, with the intention as you dive deeper into yourself to find the gift, to find the understanding that if this hadn't happened, instead of this is the worst thing that could have happened, if this hadn't happened, there's a possibility that something even more unfortunate could have occurred. So I am grateful for this opportunity, this challenge to discover more about how strong I am, how capable I am, how creative I am. And yes, as you proceed with that desire, how much fun it is to look for the next great, beautiful, amazing, fun thing. And it may not be something huge. It may be watching a puppy and feeling your heart just glow. Or a baby taking their first steps. Or a young man or woman graduating from high school or college and throwing their head in the air with all that joyful jubilation of youth. I am free to live my life. And the blessings if you encourage the youth, the children, the babies to look for the silver lining, the bright side of life. The shadow will always be there because it's there for balance. But when you forgive, focusing on what the shadow's doing, because you have to watch the shadow, because you have to know where the shadow is, because if you're not focusing on the shadow, it could do something to you. If you're focusing on the light, which illumines the darker places, then you begin to have a sense that perhaps the choices you are making at this point in time require a new direction. Perhaps instead of being so tangled in a relationship, whether it is a love relationship, and all relationships, dearly beloved masters, really are love relationships. But if it's a romantic relationship and you went into it believing I can make them into what I want them to be, and no thought of free will. So I'm not too sure I like this about them or that about them, but that'll change as we go along. And it does. But it doesn't always go the direction you want because you're looking for proof that they have quit doing what you didn't want them to do, but you're so focused on what that you didn't want them to do, they seem to be doing more of it. And you can't understand why. But when you're focused on all of the wrong things that someone else is doing, when you're constantly pointing out to them that they would be better off doing it the way you would do it. When you lose interest, when you turn away, when you become distant. And so, dearly beloved masters, it is vitally important to focus on the positives, because if you want a positive relationship, it's best to focus on the positives, what they do that you love. How good it is to spend time with them. What drew you to them in the beginning? Even, even forgiving the desire to focus on what they require to change, because in these times on this planet, you are the one that gets to change. And finding the best of you, looking for the best of you, dwelling on the things you do well, and looking at the things, the faults, the flaws that you might judge, and then beginning to forgive judgment. Forgive judging yourself. Let it go. And when the logical mind, which is very determined to remind you of things that you don't do well, imposes upon you something that you really did wrong, instead of falling into sadness over that, regret and judgment, take the time to really consider the illusion's perspective is in many ways a mirror of what you are creating. So that elusive reflection may show you the backward side of what you're really doing well. People will judge people for doing the wrong thing. And yet, very often, if the understanding was clear within you, Spirit would show you in a very clear, unconditional way, it isn't that you're doing things so wrong, but that you're doing them altogether too right for that other person. You make them feel bad. You make them feel less. You make them feel, but it isn't you doing that. Oh, there are people definitely that make it their job, if you would, to make sure that other people know their flaws, to put them in their place. But it is, dearly beloved masters, when you can stand before your mirror, your personal mirror, on the wall, a standing mirror, those are really good, where you can see the full length of yourself and begin to love every inch of you. Love every inch of you. This is not a doing thing. This is absolutely an allowable. Because how many people are there that really can stand in front of a mirror and look at themselves and not find something they want to fix? And yet, the goddess loves you just the way you are. Don't go changing, trying to please me. I love you just the way you are. Now, it isn't about not changing. It's about you choosing your changes, that you begin to make changes that make you feel good. And we're not talking about starving yourself so that you look like a skeleton because that's what makes you feel good. That requires getting together with your logical mind and finding out why you can't see yourself the way God does. So when you stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself, look at yourself in unconditional love. That means, yes, you'll see things that require changes, but it doesn't wound you. It isn't so horrifically critical. And yes, the changes that you decide to make may take time. And this has been very defeatist to human nature, having a happy and positive attitude. Well, I asked God for fill in the blanks, and it's been a week, and it didn't happen. It takes 9 months to gestate a child. If what you ask for is really big, it might take a year or two. The logical mind just, oh, I don't have time for that. You were created unconditionally without a time constraint. So when you forgive being caught up on the horns of dilemmas out in the outer world, and you begin to give yourself more time, there's a difference energetically between giving yourself time to be peaceful and taking time. Because taking time has that energetic feel of, I'm taking it back for myself when you never lost it. Or you're taking the time from someone else and you don't care. And getting clear within yourself that positive thinking isn't being always so positive and you tell other people they need to be positive. It really isn't positive if there's a need involved. So the positive thinking is genuinely making a commitment to yourself to speak positively. And we're not talking positive with sarcasm. And we're not talking about Walt Disney. We're talking about being real in your positiveness. You've certainly given yourself over to your negativity, really. And so, forgiving that you would allow a negative thought to stay with you. Negative thoughts are going to come. Negative things are going to happen. But as you commit to yourself to be consistently looking for a positive way to enjoy things, a positive way to look at your life. How many positives are you allowing? And it really isn't even about counting. It's about making each event in your day. The moment the old negativity rushes in, stop. Before you act, because reacting to negativity is emotional. Responding positively is feeling. Emotions are surface. They don't take the time to go into the depths to find the goodness that your life is filled with. And the logical mind keeps a tally on all the negativity. So if someone says, think positive, many people have a list that is so long it rolls out across the floor if you unroll it. And they can tell you why they can't be positive. So that's where you start allowing. I absolutely can be positive. I am willing to make this like a game. I am going to find positives in everything. And the logical mind will say, well, that sounds like fun. That might be okay, but what if the house burns down? Have you been thinking about buying a new house? Have you been thinking about renovating the old one? Learning, beloved masters, that many things that logic calls negative occur in your life because you've begun to think about making the change, but you're letting the old self prevent you from making the change. And making a change is a choice. I choose to change, but I don't know how to change. Allow Spirit to show you. Be patient. Because in these times, the energy that the heavens are pouring out on humanity is awakening the divine connection in everyone. Many of them are afraid of it. They're ignoring it. They're dismissing it as crazy. They're preventing themselves from giving in to having fun because God wouldn't be happy if you were having fun. It's time to do an internal reality check with the deity that you are dealing with, because divine creator unconditionally loves creation. There are laws set in place that were set in place before you were created in the beginning that govern balance. And those laws of balance operate unconditionally. They don't pick out people and pick on them. Now, there are people that believe that's true, but the thing of it is, if you're counting your negatives and not your positives, then you are absolutely focused on the accumulation of negatives you have. Look, here's another negative thing. Look at all the negative things that are happening to me. Why me? Because it's time for you to learn to love yourself so well that you will begin to make an honest, sincere effort to find the good in your life. People say, nobody loves me. Are you letting them love you? Well, this is the way love works. And if they don't love me this way, then it's not love. Beloved masters, there's approximately 8 billion people on this planet. There couldn't possibly, in your wildest dreams, be only one way to love, or that you can only love one person. And if you're loving someone else, you're betraying that love. Now, divine law of balance says you have a choice to allow your desire to love to run rampant in your life and control you, or you have the choice to move into the center of understanding within you and feel the multitude of ways that love loves. The love of your children is different from the love of your partner or your mate or your lover. The love of someone you just met may be very different from the love of an old friend. And a lot of people in these times won't even entertain getting to know new people because they're afraid that maybe that person is up to something. Paranoia is running rampant on the planet. I'm afraid to talk about myself. What would they think? Or what would they do with it? So, what happened? A man with a lot of money and a crew of young boys went into the files in Washington, D.C., and took the files, basically. All the files are still there, but they made records. They made films. They made recordings. They took it all. And a little by a little, for all who are afraid their secrets will be known, that fear of being found out is controlling people. God knows who you are and loves you unconditionally, sweetly, seeing you as the divine creative master you were made to be. And yes, holding a blessed intention that you will remember to use your creativity wisely in love. But there's no curse in it. And yes, there are many people that are finding that using blackmail in multitudinous different forms, from Ponzi schemes to spam to robocalls, to take advantage of people who are afraid that there's not enough, and therefore, if they spend all the money they've got, they'll get a lot more. So another new way of moving into this new way of being, positive thinking, calls you to focus on finding a new way to consider money. Because right now, money is considered the only solution for all woes. And dearly beloved masters, you are an unlimited divine creative master. In the depths of your being, in the cells of your body, in your well of wisdom in the solar plexus, not just in your stomach, but in that energy space inside of you, which looks as vast as the starry sky behind me. Your energy space within this, yes, little human frame is connected to unlimited potential. The stars in the heavens seem so far away, and yet you have been to many of them. It would be so much fun to take a cloud and just use it like a snowball. And you've done that. You've stood in your field and called the rain, the sun, the wind, the water, all of the elements in timely ways to make sure that your crops were good. In fear, someone may look at their neighbor's land and say, it's so much better, so much greener, so much fuller. Why isn't mine that way? Are you seeing your land, your life, your possessions as beautiful, as fulfilling, as not the last thing I'll ever have, but the first thing? It's only just begun. we've only just begun to live. Because in this downsliding of forgetfulness into the pit of separation, you've forgotten the magnificence of humanity. And God hasn't. And God is emerging in all of you to remind you of balance once more. Not just the patriarchal war mind, but the mother goddess that says, the natural world has many things to heal you. Technology can do it for you, but that just increases your separation and makes you lonelier. So finding your highest technology within yourself, the technology of your spirit, the technology of a body that is so remarkable that science still doesn't understand it. The logical mind has made determinations and then given them as fact. And logic speaks of facts. And yet, dearly beloved masters, when you go within yourself where there's no proof in the outer world, and you find the amazing being that you are because you dive so deep that you come to the reality, the core of who you are. Beautiful, astounding, awesome, amazing, but in a quiet way. Not that you have to carry a sign and tell people who you are, because when you know yourself, you don't need to tell them. You may decide that telling your story is potentially going to be helpful for someone. But your story, you have to remember, is the way it worked for you. And so as you tell your story, it isn't the way everyone else on the planet should live. It is your story, your amazing discoveries, your ability to navigate your life in this place. And if it will support someone else, if it will encourage them, if it will fill them up, if it will make them happy, then dearly beloved masters, tell your story, sing your song, paint your picture, write your book, play your music, dig in the dirt, plant a forest, and live to see those trees grow ancient. You've actually done that over many lifetimes. The in-between is a part of life. And yet, because the logical mind can't understand it, it says, you're dead. But you're very much alive, whether you're in a physical form here or someone else. Or if you're simply enjoying the time of exploration in the in-between. The other that connects within you shows you many dimensional frequencies when logic says the third dimension. But you're now preparing in this time to move into the sixth dimension. Unlimited potential. Find happiness in your own positive self within. Your happiness, not making others happy and hoping that'll make you happy, or expecting them to make you happy if you're determined not to be. But your happiness that you feel from the Lord God of your being in your soul center. And the beautiful bridge between your mind and the outer world, or the inner world, rather, the logical mind, and what is going on deep inside of you, where the outer world has said nothing exists. That's just your physical self. It's your organs. It's just the makeup of the body. There's nothing there. Everything about you is pure energy. And where the earth is going is away from dense physical matter and moving you gradually, albeit, but moving you to a place of recognizing yourself as a crystalline being. White light. Yes, there's form. There potentially will be some matter, but it won't matter nearly as much as it did before because you will be so much clearer about who you are in it. And no one can go into the sixth dimension until they are willing to change. It isn't that God denies you access. You already were created with free will. So the choice to change is, you might say, your key to heaven. Being willing to be positive about life, to enjoy life, to delight in sharing with others, and of understanding within yourself that the more I give, the more I share, the sweeter my life becomes. Because divine law, as you give, it returns magnified. What you give returns magnified. That's an encouragement right there to make positive choices. And so, dearly beloved masters, in the greatest of love, not romantic notions or I'll love you if you do what I want you to, but unconditionally loving and feeling the sweetness and the calm and the peace and the quiet within you when you are not making yourself responsible for the lives of other people. The love within you will help you to respond well as you share with others. And so, masters, in the love that we share with you unconditionally, we are surrounding you, indwelling you We are with you. Recognize it. Let it be. Let it be. Find your ways of wisdom and let them be. I bid you adieu.